Okay, the halfway mark of this 150 chase from Lucknow, everyone, including Gautam Gambhir, his support staff, supporters in Lucknow, everyone had written on their notepads, clinical run chase. Then things happened, then some more things happened. And at the end of 4 hours and 6 minutes, right now, we finally have a completed game. Lucknow Super Giants have beaten Delhi Capitals. Hello and welcome. You're watching Cricbuzz Live. My name is Tanay Tiwari, and I'm joined by Lisa Sthalekar and Joy Bhattacharjya. Let me show you guys what's happened in the game. It's been so long, you may have forgotten what happened in the first half. But if you look at this game, Lucknow Super Giants won the toss, asked Delhi to bat first, and Delhi did not really. I mean, you look at that score, it's been that kind of a strange game. 20 overs, lost just 3 wickets, scored just 149 runs. Prithvi Shaw scored 61 of 34. Then the other half of that innings was 39, a very uncharacteristic 39 not out by Pant. Then Sarfraz Khan as well, 36 not out. Lucknow came out at the halfway mark. It seemed like we'd be done by now in our beds. And yet that wasn't the case. Quinton de Kock played a fine knock, 80 of 52. KL Rahul played quite an uncharacteristic knock there. Then Krunal Pandya towards the end. And just when it seemed like it was getting tight, Lucknow won by 6 wickets because Badoni walked in and said, "What's this fuss about?" I mean, it's just 2 hits, and he hit those shots and got done with it. But Joy, this was a long game, wasn't it?
It was a long game, and it was an absolutely perplexing game. This reminds me of a well-known, like a Tarkovsky film, where you're supposed to understand it, but after 3.5 hours, you're even more confused. The decisions taken today, as far as the batting order is concerned, which I did not understand. Then decisions taken about bowling, which I did not understand. I don't care what kind of a pitch it is and how much form a left-handed batsman like de Kock is. You cannot have your best bowler, Akshar Patel, bowl only 2 overs out there. I cannot understand how that happened. Okay,
absolutely.
So there's a lot of tricks which have been missed out here. And I'm frankly still trying to understand this European school of thought about this film. Akshar Patel too. Look at the bowling card. It's the strangest bowling card you've seen. Nokia gone. The man who's retained 2.2 overs, slips 2 balls above the waist, has been taken off the bowling lineup. 15 runs from him. And the rest of it is everything is under control except for Kuldeep, who goes for 8.45. One of which was a free hit, courtesy not him, but Nokia. It's just one of those days. It's very difficult to interpret.
It is, right? I mean, Lucknow won this game, but Lisa, Joy is right. They could have won it earlier. Delhi could have squeezed them further. The bowling changes didn't make sense. But if we stick to the bowling only, Joy is right. Akshar Patel is your best bowler. I mean, we saw there was a fair amount of dew, and yet the bowlers were trapping batters.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing as well is the fizz. They waited too long to bring him back in. And we saw how effective he was when he did get the ball in hand. And those little off-cutters that he was bowling into the pitch was perfect. The one ball that went for 6 was the out of the back of the hand, slower delivery that Pandya, hit straight back over his head for 6. So they could have squeezed. It was almost like they thought they would use him at the back end, but you got to get to the back end first to be even thinking about it. So, some missed opportunities there. I'm a bit like Joy, just kind of going, and I know it's easier. I know it's a hell of a lot easier sitting back and watching the game. But hopefully the coaching staff of Delhi will get into Rishabh Pant and actually go, okay, this is what you did. This is where we think you can improve. You need to assess the conditions. I mean, even Quinton de Kock, it's known that the ball turning away from him, he struggles with it. So obviously Yadav and Kuldeep in the end got him, but he enjoyed feasting on everyone else.
He did. And Joy, the more we look at that bowling card, the stranger it looks. Lalit Yadav has completed his quota of 4 overs, but Akshar Patel hasn't bowled his. I mean, is there a sense in that? Can you find out perhaps there was a matchup or something else? What was going on?
Yeah, there was a matchup because, basically what they were waiting for was for de Kock to get out.
Okay.
De Kock is a left-hander, so obviously the off-spinner, the leg spinner of Akshar Patel would come into his arc, so they thought they denied de Kock. But the point of it is that if you do like that and you stop your best bowler from bowling, that's absolutely ridiculous. And see, everyone will say that there was, finger spinners finds it more difficult to, control the ball in these conditions. But if you tell me that Lalit Yadav is a more skilled finger spinner than somebody like Akshar Patel, Akshar Patel can't control the ball, or Akshar Patel can't bowl to left-handers. I'm sorry. I mean, if you have that kind of a situation, then half the bowlers will never get a chance to bowl. So that's what I found it perplexing. You've gone till the 10th over, 11th over, and De Kock is still not out. You have to give Akshar more overs. And he's your best bowler. He's your best chance. And the point of it is the advantage of a spinner in these conditions or where the ball is not coming onto the bat is the batsman has to do all the running. The moment Nokia came on, the moment the one person who has genuine pace came on, they had it much easier. He goes for 35 in his 2.2 overs. And that's just the point. This is the kind of pitch where the moment they see some pace on the ball, the batsmen are absolutely delighted. So that's why I find this totally perplexing. For whatever Rishabh was doing there, whether he was batting or when he was fielding and marshalling his troops, I just didn't understand what he was doing.
We're trying to untangle a few mysteries here. And Lisa, one of those mysteries
One thing
is...
actually...
sure.
I was just going to say about Akshar Patel. I know matchups are really important in T20 cricket and the bowlers and who prefers what. Yet from a batting perspective, we know that David Warner gets out to Bishnoi regularly. Okay, the third time now. Do we say, actually, Dave Warner, we're not selecting you because Bishnoi's in the team? We go, no, you should be good enough to be able to adapt and change. But we never do that to the bowlers. We never say, oh, Akshar, you're the best. Yes, Quinton de Kock is in form firing and it's not a great matchup. But, mate, we need you. You have to find some magic. We don't do that. And we should do that because we expect that from our batters, but we don't allow our bowlers to do it. So I think there has to be a change sometimes. And there was a point in the match where they had to get Quinton de Kock out. And so you have to put him up against your best bowler.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just wondering all this while, why weren't matchups introduced when I was in school and I was taking exams? Then I could have told my mother, see, my numbers aren't great in mathematics. Please don't let me take this. And I used to bowl as well. So, I don't know. But if you look at how the innings went, Joy, and just it's another addition to that entire long list of how things have been strange in this game. This innings progression also kind of tells a story in its own self. Look at that. For Lucknow, the first 6 overs were brilliant, 48 runs. They were on course. Then they kind of slowed down a little. Then they picked up pace. And towards the end, of course, Badoni came in and changed that equation. But there in the middle overs, they also seem to have lost their way.
They lost their way the moment the ball Nokia was taken off. Basically, you'll notice wherever Nokia is bowled, the periods in which Nokia is bowled, it's gone in their favor. It's gone in the batsman's favor. Lucknow has just taken advantage of pace on the ball. And I think that's the key to this situation. And I go back to Akshar to say just one thing, that you have a mismatch in the ground. In this ground, basically, where the actual field was set and where the particular pitch they used, there was one side which was an 80-meter boundary. You could have easily bowled Akshar from that end with that being Quinton de Kock's leg side and said that if you have to fetch me for 80 yards. It's not that easy. So those are the kind of things that you think about, especially when you have a disproportionate ground. It's actually easier to bowl spinners. So it is one of those things that we look at, and I'm hoping to hear in the post-match interviews what the strategy was, because frankly I don't understand it at this point in time.
Correct. If I can read from the Cricbuzz commentary, Rishabh Pant after the game, Lisa said that when the dew is like that, you can't be complaining. As a batting unit, we were 10-15 short at the end, and Avesh and Holder pulled it back. Credit to them. He said we were talking about giving 100% till the last ball of the 40th over, no matter what happens. And then he says the power play was fine. We didn't get any wickets. Our spin attack did well in the middle overs. But then again, he said in the end, we were 10-15 short. So there was a lot of dew, of course, there. But Rishabh Pant is going to have a long night. There's going to be a long meeting with Ricky Ponting for sure.
Yeah. Yes, I agree with all of that. Yes, they were short. But sometimes you're not given all the cards that you would like, are you? And you've got to find a way to actually fight hard, and they got themselves back in the contest. It's just a couple of those key decisions. And even, like I said, Rahman, the fact that he bowled that one out of the back of the hand, even as a bowler going, why did I go to that instead of my cutter into the pitch? just those little things make a big difference. And we know that in T20 cricket because each ball is a moment. So you've got to win as many moments as possible. So, yeah, you were 10, 15 runs short, but I also think you gave yourself every opportunity to walk away with 2 points and you didn't, just because of potentially some tactical errors.
Correct, but one team has walked away with 2 points from this game. Lucknow Super Giants, they've eventually won this game by 6 wickets. And a big box take joy for Lucknow will be Quinton de Kock. I mean, there was always complaints, and perhaps they can look at the game today as well and go like he should have finished it. But there were always complaints that he gets starts, doesn't get those big runs. Today he got that start and got those big runs as well. How big a positive is that going in further in this tournament for Lucknow?
I think it's really big for them because the second thing it's doing is, one is that, it's establishing him in the order because they were depending on Rahul and de Kock for these big starts. But the second thing is done that now that de Kock's in form, they can afford to keep playing this 5-bowler lineup because Lewis is slotting in at 3, Huda and Kunal are looking good at 4 and 5, and the way Badoni is playing at 6 and finishing matches nervelessly, 22-year-old kid playing his first IPL, finishing nervelessly, is giving them a lot more confidence. And after him, there's still Jason Holder, Krishnappa Gautam, who can bat as well. And so you're batting right down to 8 without Manish Pandey in the lineup and still putting out 6 bowlers out there. So it's really heartening because given de Kock's form, they can now afford to play this lineup consistently. And this lineup is going to be a headache for other teams.
It is going to be, and with de Kock in that kind of form, especially that strike rate, Lisa, if you look at his numbers again, that strike rate really stands out because in that batting order, and we were discussing this at the com box as well, that strike rate stands out because no one else, apart from, of course, Krunal Pandya and Badoni, who came in later, have a strike rate in excess of 100.
Yeah, I mean, he's a clean striker, isn't he? He's an entertainer at the top of the order, and he wants to get off to a good start, and he was able to do it. The question for me is sometimes we see these little peaks in Quinton de Kock's performance, and then there's a few more troughs. So he just needs to try and be as consistent as he possibly can for Lucknow now.
Correct. That consistency is going to be key for them, especially with the kind of synergy he's formed with KL Rahul up top. If he can keep batting with that strike rate, KL Rahul can keep playing his game and all will seem well for Lucknow. But that one man you spoke about, Joy, you said Badoni's finishing games nervously. The people in Lucknow are not calling him Badoni anyway. They're calling him Hamare Lucknow ka Dhoni hai. They're calling him Dhoni only. He's saying finishing off in style. Yeah. But such a cool,
It's amazing to see him. And look, the other thing about de Kock is, remember, de Kock had a troubling season last year. For a batsman of his quality, he was scoring at that 126, 128, 130. Openers cannot afford to score at that rate. They've got to push it up to 135, 140. Top openers are going 135, 140. So somewhere that's one talk I think somebody's had with him, whether it's Andy Flower or Gautam Gambhir, saying, you need to push that strike rate up a bit more because if you score at the same rate, you'll start putting pressure on Rahul as well, who'll feel the need to take more risks. And I think by doing this, playing at 150 today, a lot of answers, questions have been solved for the Lucknow franchise.
Correct. And that lineup we were talking about, Lisa, the fact that Marcus Stoinis is yet to be added to that lineup. Now, add Marcus Stoinis, slot him in as a finisher. You have Lucknow ka Dhoni anyway there, and they've got a power-packed finishers lineup there.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is Stoinis can actually bat anywhere, and
absolutely.
We saw Delhi actually use him a little bit higher up, and in the Big Bash he opens as well, and has that ability. So he's a great flexible player to kind of slot in, depending on who you want to drop. Like, I'd hate to be selectors at the moment when he's fit and raring to go, because they've got a bit of a headache. Is it a straight swap with Evan Lewis, or will he bowl? That's the other question about Stoinis. His bowling and getting injured regularly is something they're going to have to manage as well throughout the tournament.
Correct. But now Lucknow are kind of separating themselves from the pack. It's really important. If we look at that points table, of course, we'll figure out how they've separated themselves from that pack. But before that, it's done now, and we're still in this day only, Thursday, 7th of April, thankfully. So now it's time to look at tomorrow's game. What game have we got tomorrow then? Punjab Kings take on the Gujarat Titans. Now, two teams here who are very interesting again, Joy, both of whom are coming off a win Punjab beating Chennai Super Kings. Gujarat, of course, also got a win in their last game. Which team has a better sense of momentum getting into this game?
Look, I think Punjab has got something out there which I feel that they're starting to get their wheels together. I think Rabada returning is a big plus for them because he's added some teeth to that bowling lineup. And I'll tell you the surprise package for me. The surprise package for me was Vaibhav Arora.
Oh, yes.
There's a little story out there. You know that Vaibhav Arora's college classmate, they used to open the bowling together for their government college, was actually Arshdeep Singh. And Arshdeep Singh goes into the India under-19 team, does the fast track, makes it to the Punjab team. Weber falls off the wayside, gets selected in Punjab, decides that he's going to give up the game. Then his coach tells him, no, you can do better than that. He goes off to Himachal, does well for them, comes back, gets picked in the IPL, plays and bowls with his old partner Arshdeep Singh.
Yeah.
And he bowled absolutely beautiful. 2 wickets for 21 runs, and both were really crucial wickets.
Correct. What a dream story that is, right, Lisa? But it's been a dream story for the Gujarat Titans. I mean, they win tomorrow. Right now, they're the only team that's unbeaten.
Yeah, it is a dream start. New franchise, new group of players.
Yeah.
Hardik Pandya captaining for the first time. Everyone had question marks whether and how he would go. But, credit to them. They've played some good cricket. But remember, it's not how good you start the tournament. It's how you finish it. So it's important for them that they just keep incrementally improving as the tournament goes, ticking off a few boxes so that by the time you get to the back end, things are flying. So, but a great start, some good players there. And we love the fact that Hardik is actually bowling as well. That changes. I remember last year, the dynamics just didn't seem right for Mumbai.
Yeah, correct. And also we have got one of our family members there, Joy. One of our CB family members, Nehra ji, of course, coaching that side. And Lisa used a very, very nice word there. There's increment in the kind of improvement they've shown, especially with that bowling attack. I mean, there were question marks around the squad ahead of this tournament. And yet with that bowling attack, they've really packed a punch.
Yeah, they pack an absolute punch. That bowling attack is lethal. I consider it probably the best in the tournament in terms of wicket-taking bowlers. I mean, a combination of Shami, Rashid Khan, and Lockie Ferguson is absolutely deadly. Now take a situation where you have somebody like a Hardik Pandya who's giving you 4 cooked overs, Rahul Tewatia who's bowling for you, and that looks brilliant. Their fifth bowler, I still think they're missing a trick. Varun Aaron is not doing it for them. There's many options out there. I actually like 2 options. One is Sai Kishore, who's this really clever left-arm spinner from Tamil Nadu, really successful, knows how to bowl in these conditions. And the other is a Delhi boy who is an under-19 player who got selected before Virat Kohli in the IPL, first IPL.
Yeah, correct.
That's Pradeep Sangwan. Left arm, slants it away, intelligent bowler, difficult to hit. Both good options out there. Varun Aaron is very injury prone and he has that raw pace, but he's not always consistent. So I think you're going to see a change in that pace, definitely.
Anything that you see in the batting department, Lisa? I mean, the batting there for Gujarat, Shubman Gill was brilliant, of course, but then that middle order of Vijay Shankar, then you have Hardik Pandya, who's had starts but hasn't converted them, and then there's Matthew Wade as well, who's not had a great time striking the ball.
Yeah, and then also Miller and where does he fit into it? So it's trying to get the best. I mean, Dave Miller's been around forever and a day. Was skipper of Kings 11 Punjab way back when. But the main thing is that he gives you 1 innings or 2 innings every IPL and you think, yes, we've unlocked the secret. So new staff, new group of players, new feel, sometimes even being in a new change room and wearing different kit can be enough for a player just to flick the switch. They need to find a little bit more runs from their top order if they're going to really trouble teams at the back end.
Correct, and especially when the team at the other end has the ability to score so many runs, Joy. I mean, they won against the Chennai Super Kings. Livingston came to the party. It seemed like all is going well for Punjab Kings in that game, especially with the ball. Rahul Chahar was brilliant. They're playing again at the Brabant. How do you see this team?
Well, I see it as a fantastic team, and what happens when you have great teams? A headache for the selectors because Hanuka Rajapaksa is doing so well for them. Do they slot in Johnny Bairstow and take his place? So the situation is that they can do that, or what they can do is get Johnny Bairstow in and use him to replace Odean Smith. Because while Odean Smith is giving them 3 or 4 overs and he's backing it a bit towards the end, he had one spectacular match. He's much more of a hit and miss proposition, and he's going for runs. He's not really holding back the runs. So they can look at it in 2 ways. They can say that even if we go for 180, 200, we had the ability to chase almost anything down. And with both Rajapakse and Livingstone, and if you add Johnny Bairstow to that lineup, Mayank Agarwal up front, I mean, this is such a power-packed lineup.
Correct. Yeah, with those batters there, and they only know one way how to bat. I mean, they lose wickets, they don't lose wickets. Lisa, they continue batting, they continue coming out to attack. And that against a bowling attack where you have 12 overs, as Joy said, of Lockie Ferguson, Mohammad Shami and Rashid Khan, that's a mouth-watering battle.
Yeah, they're 33 sixes so far. They're sitting second behind Rajasthan. So, they do have one way, which is go hard or go home.
Yeah.
It has worked for them 2 out of the 3 occasions. One time it didn't. And they've got to trust, if that's their blueprint, if that's what they think is going to win majority of their games and get them into the finals, then they've got to understand that they're going to have some blowout games where things don't occur. So the coaching staff, the owners, everyone has to buy into that.
Correct.
Otherwise, if there's panic or frustration or disappointment shown when they're playing that same type of brand of cricket, then players will start to be confused and finger pointing will happen. So I'll be interested to see if they start to lose a few more, what will happen, whether they change that plan. But at the moment, it seems to be working well for them. Going hard, relying on their power-packed middle order. Shah Rukh Khan as well. We know how good a striker he is. So, I don't mind it. I think they bought really well in the auction.
Yeah, if they stay committed to that vision of going big or going home, one thing is for certain, we are all in for some massive entertainment. So then, one player to watch out for, Joy, in this game from either teams.
Actually, I feel that the player that I'm looking forward to watching, and I was pleasantly surprised by, was Jitesh Sharma.
Correct.
Again, a player who came out of nowhere and just, wicket-keeper batsman, and he really hit it beautifully. And I think that if he strikes form for them, because remember, Shah Rukh Khan has not yet struck form.
He hasn't.
So with him striking form, that's made such a difference to that batting order. And I'm looking forward to his explosiveness as well.
So Jitesh for Joy, who for you, Lisa?
What's the list again? Can you guys bring it up? There's just so many names there.
Sure, 100%. Which team do you want? Punjab or Gujarat? Okay, Punjab then.
Oh, let's go Punjab. I think the skipper needs to step up.
Yeah.
Correct. I think he has to have a good game. He's without his mate KL, and it's a little bit different for him. And they had such a wonderful partnership at the top. But he as leader needs to lead by example. I know that's easier said than done, but that's what he'll be feeling. He's been good even when he hasn't really troubled the scorers too much in the field. He has to be, but runs under the belt will do him a world of good.
Okay, final one before we wrap, Lisa. Who has the edge? Gujarat or Punjab? It's tough one, no?
I'm going to say Punjab.
Punjab. For you, Joy?
I'll go Punjab as well at this point in time.
Okay, then. 2 Punjabs. This will be an interesting battle to watch out for. We had an interesting battle today as well. Lucknow and Delhi. And how has that game's result changed positions on the points table? Let's have a look there. And if you look at that, you will see that Lucknow are now kind of separating themselves from that pack. Now, if Punjab win again tomorrow, Joy, they also kind of start separating themselves. They go second on that points table, on that net run rate right now, if they improve it. And this is going to be a trend now, right, Joy? With teams winning, and now we'll start seeing teams separating from each other.
You're going to see teams separating from each other, and you're going to see teams panicking as well. Okay, and somebody is going to lose their 4th match. It's not going to be easy. From then on, it becomes more and more difficult chase upstream. And then decisions will start taking. Captaincies might change hand. Players will start much more chopping and changing. This, remember, an 8-team tournament means you have a 50% chance of qualifying.
Correct.
But a 10-team tournament means you have just a 40% chance. A 10% chance has been knocked off. and the two early entrants, the two latest entrants, have made some great early runs. So yeah, this is going to be the most open IPL I've seen in a long, long time.
It is, yes, correct. And let's not get ahead of ourselves, of course. I mean, this weekend is going to be a power-packed weekend. It's already weekend, actually. I mean, it's Friday. So we're already into that weekend. But there's one piece of business remaining, the joy factor. Let's first have the question then of the joy factor. Joy, sir, over to you.
Absolutely. I thought that, I'd have a question befitting my age. On which test records list is Sachin placed at number 5, preceded by 3 Englishmen and a West Indian, the youngest of whom was born more than 40 years before him?
Yeah.
The player who was born before him was a man called Brian Close. And this list is a list of the longest span of playing test cricket. And the record, of course, is held by Wilfred Rhodes, who played his first test match when he was about 21, 22 years old, and played his final test match when he was 52 years old. Yes, you heard that right?
Wow.
52 years old. The man who was the youngest before this is a record, obviously, which was set most often in the late 19th, early 20th century. The most recent example was a player called Brian Close, who made his debut when he was 17 years old, and then finally came back 20 odd years later, to 22, 23 odd years later, to play again against a rampaging Australian attack. So,
wow! By that timeline, Joyda, you still have a shot at playing cricket again, no?
Well, they unfortunately rejected my application the last auction. I just don't understand. I just think it's foul play.
It is, yeah, 100%. Absolutely, yeah.
I have to tell you that Wasim Akram and I have together got 916 international wickets. Both of us.
See, there's a trivia for the world. Yeah, correct. There's a trivia for the world.
He got all 916, but I was with him.
Absolutely, 100%. Lisa, we learn new things every day.
We do, especially from Joy.
Correct, yeah. We also won a World Cup with Lisa, no? Lisa's with us. Lisa's won a World Cup. So
as they call it, commutative relationships.
Is that how it works, is it?
Yeah, of course.
One degree of separation.
What else? Yeah. What else were you thinking, Lisa? We share that World Cup medal. Just FYI.
Okay.
We do.
I'll bring him into the studio next time, hey?
Done deal. 100%. We'll all click selfies and post on Instagram. If you're not following us, do follow us on Instagram. That's a slight plug in there. But that's all that we have for you on Cricbuzz Live today. But see, that's what we do. We're so self-involved that we forget about the winner. We have a winner for the joy factor for that question. Let's see who's got that prize now. And the prize goes to Rajesh Reddy. Many, many congratulations, Rajesh Reddy. That was a really tough one. You cracked it. Many congratulations. And I'm pretty sure these guys, the way they are, Joy, they must have cracked it very early. I mean, by the time we were finished putting this question up and, putting it out on the socials, they must have cracked it. That's how they are. But that's all that we have for you on this edition of Cricbuzz Live. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you so much, Joy. See you in 11, 12 hours again. It's Friday again. We'll see each other later today. Yeah. Lisa's almost done. Okay then. Producer Sam, please roll the bumper, please. We're done.